I have started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. Hudson blinked twice through the cracked lens of his rifle scope as the alien generals burst into hysterical laughter. The three reptilian warlords stood tall inside their neon-lit command dome, mocking him over the battlefield speakers. Their translated voice boomed across the ruined city like a bad comedy show gone wrong. Earth's deadliest sniper, the alien mocked, yet here he hides behind broken concrete like a scared little worm. The other two generals laughed and slapped each other's back. They did not know he could hear them. They did not know what he was loading next. Because when Hudson slid that single .50 BMG round into his rifle chamber, the war changed. It all started 9 hours earlier when the Earth Defense Union ordered Hudson to join a small recon unit in the ruins of Denver. The alien fleet had landed 2 days ago and wiped out half the world's military in a matter of hours. Every civilization was suddenly an endangered species. Hudson had spent his life alone in the mountains of Wyoming taking long-range contracts nobody else could handle. The man once put a bullet into a moving target from 2 miles away while eating a sandwich. He did not brag about kills because he considered math and distance more interesting than bragging. He was also a man of very few words, mostly because he found talking a distraction from breathing. And breathing was important for sniping. Sometimes I think Earth would have been better off invaded by something cute like fuzzy green bunnies, his teammate Morales had said while kicking broken rubble out of her way. Instead we get lizard freaks with laser cannons. Dr. Sato adjusted his cracked glasses while hiking next to Morales. The Japanese physicist wore a lab coat over a bulletproof vest because he insisted he could not think clearly unless he was dressed like a scientist. The aliens are not lizards, he said. They are Thraxians. Their homeworld gravity is 3 times that of Earth, which explains their bone density and height. Morales rolled her eyes. What are you, a walking encyclopedia? Actually, yes, he replied proudly. Hudson stayed quiet. He watched the streets ahead for drones as they moved through what used to be Denver, Colorado. The city smelled like burning cars and fear. Rumors said the aliens were building something monstrous in the center of the ruins. The mission was simple. Get inside. Find out what they were building. Then get out alive. Simple missions are always the ones that go wrong. The team climbed a collapsed highway overpass and dropped into an old shopping street. Alien structures pulsed like giant synthetic mushrooms across the skyline. Everything felt wrong around them, as if physics itself was starting to bend. A constant hum filled the air like a living heartbeat. Morales grimaced. I swear if one of these things starts breathing, I am going home. Hudson raised a hand and they froze behind a shattered taxi. A recon drone drifted overhead scanning for life signs. It whirred like a swarm of angry mosquitoes. Hudson lifted his rifle and exhaled slowly. Morales watched him line up his shot. 1 round. 1 breath. 1 less drone. The bullet smashed through the drone's eye and it spiraled down smoking. They moved again. Time was short. Dr. Sato stared ahead as they approached the towering glow of the alien structure. I have read every Thraxian frequency and signal we intercepted, he said. This humming we hear does not match any known alien technology. It almost sounds biological. Morales groaned. Great. So we are invading an alien flesh factory. Things are looking up for humanity. They reached a rooftop for better visibility, and Hudson set up his rifle. Through his scope he observed what none of them expected. 3 massive aliens covered in ceremonial armor stood near a crystalline control tower. Energy cables pulsed into a huge fusion core that seemed to grow out of the ground like a tumor. Dr. Sato whispered in horror. That is not a power generator. That is an incubator. Incubator, Morales repeated. For what? Sato swallowed. For something bigger than them. Hudson studied the generals. They appeared relaxed, overconfident, like predators who think nobody could hurt them. Their bio-armor shimmered with reflective plates. Their command badges radiated faint energy signals, the kind Hudson had seen on high-ranking targets. He focused on the lead general. That is the one, he thought. The head of the invasion. He dialed his scope. Crosshair on the temple. Breath held. Every muscle still. Before he squeezed the trigger, a laser shot scorched the wall beside him. He pulled back. Morales screamed, "Contact! Enemy drones incoming!" They attacked from every direction. Metal tendrils and plasma blasts rained from the sky. Hudson grabbed his rifle and ran with Morales and Sato. They jumped across broken rooftops and scrambled into a half-destroyed office tower. The drones followed, firing bright blue beams that melted steel. This was a trap. Hudson yelled down, "Take cover!" But the aliens were already speaking over every speaker system in the city. "We see you, human marksman. Come crawl before us and we may kill you quickly." Morales cursed. "They know about you." Dr. Sato trembled as he sealed the metal door behind them. "How do they know you by name?" "They are not supposed to know individuals. They only track resistance cells, not people." Hudson checked his ammo. "They know because of Beijing," he said flatly. Sato blinked. "Beijing? What happened in Beijing?" Hudson did not answer. The memory flickered like static in his mind. A long-range target. A collapsing skyscraper. Too many civilian casualties. He locked it away again. They reached the top floor. Broken windows opened to a view of the alien command dome just a mile away. Morales panted. "If we stay here, we die. If we run, we die." Tired. "So what are we thinking, boss?" Hudson loaded his rifle. "We finish the mission." Morales gave him a half-smile. "I knew you were crazy." Outside, the alien loudspeaker boomed again. "Earth sniper, we know you can hear us. Come now. Show us your primitive weapon." Hudson laid down and set his rifle on the shattered concrete ledge. He looked through the scope. The three generals now stood confidently in the open. They were laughing at him, waving like bullies, daring a kid to throw the first punch. They knew human bullets could not pierce their armor. They were daring him to try. Morales whispered beside him. "They are mocking you." "No," Hudson said. "They are making a mistake." He reached into his pouch and pulled out a single massive round. A .50 BMG. Its brass casing shimmered faintly. The bullet tip had been modified, coated with something unknown. Something dangerous. Morales stared. "Where did you get that?" "Custom order," Hudson said. "From a friend in Alaska." Sato adjusted his glasses. "That is not a standard .50 BMG. That alloy is not from Earth." "Hudson, where did you get alien metal?" Hudson slid the round into the chamber. Clicked heavy and final. "I took it from a Thraxian warship 3 months ago." Morales' eyes went wide. "You have been planning this." Hudson exhaled, steady. "I never miss a headshot twice." The alien generals laughed louder, pointing at him, as if daring him to shoot. Hudson locked his scope onto the leader. Crosshair centered. The world fell silent. Hudson squeezed the trigger. The .50 BMG round screamed downrange, tearing a sonic wave behind it. The alien generals stopped laughing. Because the war had just changed forever. The recoil slammed into Hudson's shoulder as the modified .50 BMG round blurred through the air like an angry comet. It pierced the shimmering energy field around the alien general with a crack of power and slammed straight into its skull. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then a violent pulse of violet energy erupted from the impact point. The alien general's helmet shattered like stone under a jackhammer. Its massive body jerked backward and crashed into the deck plating. The other two generals froze, their mouths open in disbelief. Every drone in the sky hesitated at once, as if the entire invasion force had just glitched. Morales gaped. "You just headshot a walking tank." Dr. Sato stammered. "Their armor is nearly indestructible. That is physically impossible." Hudson did not blink. "Not impossible. Just expensive." Before anyone could celebrate, the kill alarms roared across the alien compound. Drones swarmed like black locusts, converging on the building that housed them. Morales grabbed her rifle and fired from the window. The drones returned fire with plasma bolts that exploded against the ruined concrete. Hudson pulled back and reloaded while Sato scrambled behind overturned desk. Morales yelled over the chaos. I thought you said this was recon, not suicide. Plans change, Hudson said. You could have warned us first, she snapped. He looked at her once calm as a winter lake. Would you have stayed? Morales growled. Absolutely not. Sato grabbed a small device from his bag. We must move. Every drone in the city will lock onto us now. That bullet did not just kill a general. It triggered an enemy-wide alert system. Their command structure is going into retaliation mode. Hudson slung his rifle and scanned their surroundings. The stairs were blocked, the elevators were dead, and the rooftop was crawling with drones. They were trapped from above and below. Morales fired at a drone flying in fast. What now, boss? You got a plan for this too? Hudson pulled a metal cable spool from his backpack and snapped a grappling launcher onto it. Down. Down where down? He pointed through a broken elevator shaft. Morales stared into the darkness of the shaft and cringed. You have got to be joking, you mountain hobo. Sato peeked over his shoulder. Technically we will survive the fall if we do not hit anything below 30 meters, but our bones will not. Hudson did not wait. He hooked the cable to a pillar and fired the launcher into the elevator frame. The line went taut. He wrapped his glove around the cable and slid down in silence. Morales fired a last burst into a drone and cursed. I hate this team. She jumped onto the line and followed. Sato latched onto Morales like a terrified koala and screamed all the way down. They hit the lower level and sprinted into a storage bay full of half-collapsed pipes and hanging wires. The drones swarmed the floor above, searching. Hudson led them through a cracked wall and into an underground service tunnel. The noise of battle faded into an eerie mechanical hum. Sato clutched his chest, still shaking. That was a statistically unnecessary risk. We are alive, Hudson replied. Statistics worked out fine. Morales flicked on a flashlight and scanned the tunnel. The walls were coated in alien resin. Pulses of blue light moved through cables embedded like veins. She wrinkled her nose. Why does their tech always look like someone spilled glow sticks on a spider nest? Sato studied the resin. The Thraxians bioengineer most of their infrastructure. What you see here is alive. In a sense. Morales flinched and wiped her hands against her pants. That is just great. I am allergic to space mucus. Hudson ignored them both. He examined the map on Morales' wrist display and traced their route. The alien command center sits above a central fusion chamber, he said. The shot triggered a lockdown. But there is still a chance to retrieve intel on what they are building. Morales shook her head. That thing you shot was not just any general. The whole invasion force probably just got a wake-up call. We should be finding a radio tower and calling for evac, not running deeper into the creepy basement labyrinth. Hudson paused and locked eyes with her. If we run, the Thraxians finish whatever they are building and Earth is done. If we complete the mission, at least we know what we are up against. Morales groaned. You are worse than a kamikaze pilot. At least they had planes. Sato adjusted his glasses and stepped forward. Morales, he is right. The moment that round hit the general, the command network surged. I detected a power spike underground. Something is operating below us. Something large. Morales sighed. Finer words have never been spoken before someone dies horribly underground. They moved deeper. The tunnel split into multiple passages and dipped into a massive cavern. The ceiling soared far above, hidden in shadows. Alien machinery filled the space. Towering pillars of crystal and metal pulsed with a living glow. Pods lined the walls, dripping strange fluids. Hudson scanned through his scope. Some pods were cracked open from the inside. Morales whispered, Please tell me those were storage tanks and not alien eggs. Sato frowned. Incorrect. These are gestation chambers. Adult Thraxians do not reproduce with eggs. They grow military units artificially for war. But some of these chambers are too large to grow standard soldiers. Something new is being developed. Hudson moved toward a central console. It was a glowing pillar of circuitry and energy streams. He touched the surface and images flickered to life. Strange symbols rotated and tightened like a lock resetting. Hudson stepped back. Sato, get this open. Sato hesitated. This is alien interface technology wedded to a neural encryption lattice. I might need approximately 5 minutes just to identify. Hudson stared at him. 10 seconds. Then I will speak quickly. Sato placed both hands on the console and groaned. Lines of alien code rushed across the projection. Morales paced nervously, watching both exit. Distant clicking sounds echoed through the cavern. Something large was moving in the shadows. Sato whispered, "Almost there. I just need to bypass the quantum cipher." Hudson watched the darkness with his rifle ready. "Hurry." A thunderous roar shook the cavern. Something burst from the far wall, spraying shards of metal and resin. Morales backed up, horror on her face. "Oh no. Big ugly incoming." A monstrous Thraxian enforcer charged into view, towering over them. Its armor was spiked and fused to its body like bone. Its 4 glowing eyes burned with murderous intent. It roared again and charged. Sato shouted, "I got it." The console flashed open. A holographic schematic appeared showing the entire alien structure above ground. A massive object pulsed in the center, labeled in Thraxian glyph. Sato translated in a trembling voice, "Planet Breaker Core." Morales fired at the monster, but her bullets sparked uselessly off its armor. It kept coming, smashing pipes and consoles aside. Hudson stepped forward and loaded another modified .50 BMG round. This one was darker, almost obsidian. Morales yelled at him, "You cannot fight that thing, it is immune to bullet." Hudson chambered the round and stared down the scope. "Good thing this is not a bullet." The enforcer charged, swinging a massive blade arm. Hudson fired. The round hit the enforcer square in the chest and detonated on impact. A burst of violet energy burned through the armor and sent the giant crashing to the ground. Morales stood stunned. "What in the radioactive chicken nuggets are those rounds?" The alien general stepped forward with a measured coldness, its eyes glowing with fury that pulsed like molten stars. It was nearly 10 feet tall, armored in engraved obsidian plates marked with scars of previous wars. Behind it, ranks of Thraxian drones spread into a kill formation, their metal limbs clattering like a swarm of metallic locusts. Morales swallowed hard. "We are so beyond dead," she whispered. Dr. Sato gripped his tablet like it was a shield that could somehow save him from death. "Strategically speaking," he said nervously, "we should run now. Immediately. As fast as possible. Before our very atoms are vaporized." Hudson stepped forward, rifle raised. Morales grabbed his shoulder and yanked him back. "Excuse me, Mountain Man, but what part of 1,000 killer aliens says stand and fight?" She pointed into the horde. "In case your eyeballs need a reminder, they brought their entire army. Including that monster we just killed. And they rebuilt him." Sato glanced at the enforcer that had already begun twitching on the ground, regenerating. Its armor sealed itself with living metal and its shattered core pulsed to life. The scientist looked horrified. "They are bioadaptive. Their elite are designed to survive impossible combat conditions. That is not good." Hudson said nothing. His eyes were fixed on the alien general. Something about the way it stared back felt personal, like the general knew Hudson beyond this battle. The way its mandibles shifted looked disturbingly close to a grin. Morales fired a burst at the front row of drones, forcing them to pause. "Time to vanish," she said, "before they tear us apart." "This way." Hudson nodded once. "Move." They sprinted through the cavern toward a maintenance tunnel. Plasma blasts shredded the walls behind them. Chunks of rock rained down. The roar of the enforcer followed, its heavy footsteps shaking the ground. Sato gasped for breath while running. "That hologram said the Planet Breaker Core is still inactive. But based on their energy output, they could wake it at any moment. We must reach it before." Morales screamed as a section of debris exploded ahead, cutting off the path. A drone squad swarmed the opening. Hudson knelt and fired 2 precision shots, taking down their targeting unit. The drones spun wildly and collided. Morales kicked one aside and pointed to a ladder leading down. Go, go, go! They slid down into a narrower tunnel filled with alien piping and steam. The entire place felt like the inside of a massive living organism. Pulses of light traveled along the pipes like chemical signals passing through a giant nervous system. The sound of the enemy climbing down behind them echoed like metal spiders skittering closer. Morales cursed under her breath. Seriously, why does everything in this invasion feel like a horror movie basement? Sato replied while running. Because statistically humanity is experiencing an extinction-level event. The probability of survival is extremely low. Morales glared back at him. If you do not shut up with statistics, I swear I am going to feed you to them myself. Hudson stopped suddenly and held up a hand. Quiet. They froze. In the distance ahead came a rhythmic thudding. Not mechanical. Organic. Something big was moving toward them. Morales whispered, "Please tell me that is just some alien plumbing malfunction." But as it stepped into view, the truth felt worse than imagination. A massive quadruped creature covered in pale armor crawled forward with long limbs ending in bladed claws. Its head split open to reveal rows of vibrating teeth. Its body pulsed with raw energy. Sato stepped back in terror. That is a warbeast unit. Thraxians use them to clear fortress worlds. They are unstoppable biological siege engines. Morales slapped his shoulder. Why does every sentence you say make life worse? Hudson stared at the beast measuring the space around them. The tunnel was too narrow to dodge. There was no cover. Fighting would be stupid. Running was suicide. But Hudson did not move, his eyes calculating something unseen. Then he turned and shot the ceiling. The support beams snapped and rock collapsed between them and the warbeast. Dust clouded the tunnel. Morales stared at him. What are you doing? You just trapped us. Hudson reloaded. Reality check. We were already trapped. Now we have a few seconds. Morales slapped a hand to her forehead. Oh, I cannot believe my life decisions right now. They moved fast down the tunnel and reached a wider chamber lit by bioluminescent vines. Sato pulled up a map. According to alien schematics, this connects to the reactor trench. But we must cross the containment platform. Hudson scanned the echoing space. Containment platform sounds like code for giant death trap. Sato blinked nervously. Unfortunately, yes. They reached a narrow bridge, spanning a molten chasm of glowing energy streams. Below them massive cables pulsed like veins connected to a structure far beneath them. The heat shimmered like a mirage. Morales wiped sweat from her forehead. Lovely. A bridge over a sci-fi volcano. Just what I wanted in life. They were halfway across when the alien general appeared again at the far end. It had arrived faster than logic allowed. Behind it came a line of soldiers and a pair of floating artillery drones with giant cannons. Morales raised her rifle. This bridge is a choke point. We can hold them. Hudson shook his head. No. They will wipe us out with those cannons. Sato studied the drone weapon systems. Those cannons are pulse disruptors. They destabilize matter on a molecular level. If they hit the bridge, it will not just break. It will disintegrate. Morales looked at him. Why is everything you say a nightmare? Before Sato could explain, the first artillery drone fired. A beam of crackling light shot down the bridge. Hudson shoved Morales aside and fired at the beam's emitter coil. His shot hit home just in time and warped the blast off target. A chunk of railing dissolved instantly. Hudson ordered, "Keep moving." The general advanced with slow precision. Its voice echoed through the chamber in broken human speech. "Give us the sniper." Morales yelled back, translation denied. The artillery drones fired again. Hudson fired 2 rapid shots, clipping both barrels and sending energy spirals back into the walls. Explosions rocked the bridge. The structure lurched. Morales grabbed Sato before he fell. Hudson spotted what he needed. Beneath the bridge ran a maintenance cable line leading toward the lower support. It was their only chance. He slung his rifle over his shoulder and drew a combat knife. Cut the bridge cables when I tell you. Morales stared at him. That will drop us. To our deaths. Not if we slide first. She looked at the maintenance line. Then at the swarm of enemies. Then at the maintenance line again. I hate how this actually sounds smart. Sato screamed. Another beam hit near them. We do not have time to debate physics and survival odds that are mathematically impossible. Hudson grabbed the main cable and wrapped his belt around it. Morales grabbed Sato and did the same. The aliens were nearly upon them. The Enforcer had returned, now fully regenerated, pushing aside soldier units to reach them. The tunnel leading to the Planet Breaker core felt like stepping into the throat of some monstrous machine. Everything pulsed with dim red light, beating slowly like a heart buried beneath the world. The walls were formed from a mix of alien steel and living tissue that twitched whenever they brushed against it. A deep, low hum vibrated in their bones and made their teeth ache. The air stank of ozone and scorched metal. Hudson walked first without hesitation, rifle ready in his arms. Morales followed, turning slowly as she watched the shadows. Sato walked at the rear, gripping his equipment like a lifeline and whispering calculations to steady his fear. Morales finally broke the silence. I am calling it right now. This tunnel is a death funnel. You know what happens in death funnels: we die. In a funnel. Hudson did not look back. Focus. The core is ahead. If we shut it down or destroy it, the Thraxians lose their superweapon. Sato shook his head. It is not that simple. The Planet Breaker core is not just a machine. It works by warping the molecular binding energies of an entire world. The power required is catastrophic. If we damage it wrong, it might trigger early. If that happens, Earth will collapse into itself like a dying star. Morales stared at him. Translation, please. Sato hesitated. The planet will implode. So why even build something like this? Morales demanded. Because the Thraxians do not conquer planets, he said softly. They break them and harvest what remains. Hudson stopped walking. Ahead, an opening widened into a massive chamber that stretched so deep it looked bottomless. And there it was, the Planet Breaker core. A sphere the size of a city hovered above a canyon of molten energy, suspended by chains of crystallized power. Lightning arced around it like souls screaming in light form. Circular runes carved into rings spun around it, heating the chamber with dimensional energy. It felt like staring into a dying sun. Morales stared in horror. That thing is alive. Sato nodded weakly. It is powered by a captured singularity. A micro-black hole stabilized inside a Warden field. This is beyond anything humanity has ever seen. Hudson examined the support structures. Weak points, he traced them with his eyes. The power conduit, the stabilizer pylons, and something else, something worse. Hanging from a platform on the far side was a control throne, and strapped to it was a human soldier, alive but unconscious, bound in a web of pulsing cables. Morales gasped. That is a person. They have a human wired into this thing. Sato stumbled forward in disbelief. Now it makes sense. The core responds to neural patterns. They needed a living mind to calibrate its destruction wave. They are using him to lock onto Earth's biosphere. Hudson watched him closely. Can he be detached? Sato hesitated. It is theoretically possible. But if we detach him wrong, it may trigger the core. Morales sighed. So basically everything we do might kill the planet. Fabulous. No pressure. Something heavy shifted behind them. Morales turned and swore. They were not alone. 2 Thraxian assassins slid from the walls like living shadows. Their blades crackled with plasma arcs. Their armor shimmered, blending with their surroundings like walking distortions. They moved silently and with killing intent. Time slowed. Hudson raised his rifle. The assassins moved faster than human reflex. One went for Sato. The other targeted Morales. Hudson fired once, but the assassin vanished mid-shot and reappeared behind them. Morales ducked just in time as a plasma blade tore chunks from the ground where her head had been. She kicked backward, knocking the assassin off balance. Sato screamed and ran as the second assassin lunged. Hudson charged and smashed his rifle butt into the creature's head, buying a second to shoot. The bullet sparked against armor. These things were tougher than anything they had faced. Morales fired her rifle at full auto. The rounds shredded armor plating on one assassin, but it regenerated instantly. She cursed. They heal too now, that is cheating. Hudson dropped his rifle and drew his combat knife, infused with the same alien metal as his bullet. He drove it into the assassin's shoulder. It let out a shriek, part machine and part death. The blade stuck. Hudson ripped it downward, tearing through cybernetic muscle. The assassin collapsed and dissolved into liquid metal. Morales popped a grenade and threw it at the second assassin chasing Sato. The blast hit the creature mid-leap and sent it tumbling, limbs mangled. Hudson seized the opportunity and fired a modified .50 BMG round. The round hit and vaporized the assassin in a pulse of violet light. Morales rushed to Sato, who was curled behind a console. He looked pale but alive. Sato, next time just hide behind the sniper. It increases survival by roughly 100%. Sato gave her a weak nod. Statistically, possibly. Hudson retrieved his knife and scanned the platform. The human prisoner still hung from the throne motionless. He walked toward him. Morales grabbed his arm. Wait, we have to think this through. The moment we pull those cables, the core might blow. One wrong move and everything goes kaboom. Sato activated his tablet and studied the alien interface. We have two options. Option 1, we shut down the stabilizer rings first. That will pause the core and give us time to rescue him safely. And Option 2, Morales asked. Detonate the power conduits manually. That will overload the core and destroy it. Morales squinted. And what happens if we choose Option 2 while he is still hooked up? Sato answered quietly. He dies. And maybe us too. Hudson stared at the captive soldier. His identification tag glowed faintly beneath scorched armor. Captain Cole. Hudson froze. Morales saw the look on his face. Wait, you know him? Hudson nodded once. He saved my life in Beijing. Sato went still. Beijing. The rumor. The sniper who took out the Bio-Titan at 2 miles but brought down a tower by accident and killed his own team. They said only one survivor made it out. Hudson stared at Cole. He was the survivor. Morales softened. So this is personal. No, Hudson said. This is war. We shut it down. Save him. Before Sato could reply, the planet breaker thrummed louder. A siren blared. The control throne activated. Cole's eyes shot open, glowing blue with alien energy. He screamed and the sound was not human. The core flared like a star. Morales shouted. We woke it up. Hudson grabbed his rifle. Sato, stabilize that core. I am trying, but it is resisting me. A roar echoed from the tunnel behind them. The alien general had returned. It walked onto the platform with its enforcer and an army of drones behind it. Its eyes glowed murderously. Morales raised her rifle. That is a lot of enemies. Sato yelled over the noise. I need 2 minutes. Hudson loaded another alien round. Buy him time. Morales grinned. So what is the plan? Same as always, Hudson said. Do the impossible or die trying. Morales smirked. I was afraid you would say something sensible. Together they turned and faced the army. The roar of battle ignited again as destiny closed in on 3 humans who refused to surrender. The alien general did not charge like a beast. It advanced like a judge delivering a sentence, calm and absolute in its belief that victory was inevitable. Behind it the enforcer let out a metallic roar and slammed its bladed fist into the ground, sending a shock wave that rattled the platform. Drones filled the air like a metallic storm. Morales set her jaw, bracing against the recoil of her rifle. Sato hunched over the console, fingers flying as alien code rippled across the interface. Hudson stepped forward, setting himself between the incoming horde and his team. They fired first. Morales laid down a line of covering fire that shattered drone sensors and ruptured circuitry. Hudson fired with precision, every shot finding a skull or core. His modified rounds dropped enemy units in terrifying bursts of violet energy that rippled outward like miniature singularities. But for every drone they dropped, 5 more flew into position. The sky above them filled with metal. "We cannot hold this," Sato shouted over the battle. "They are shielding the stabilizer pylons. I cannot shut down the core until they are offline." Translation: Morales yelled back, while swapping magazines blow up the shiny glowing power towers. Hudson fired another round and nodded. "Break their shield wall. Push to the pylons." He charged first, sprinting toward the nearest stabilizer pylon, a towering spire wrapped in rotating crystalline rings. Drones fired plasma bursts at him, but Hudson moved low and fast. He slid into position and pressed a shaped charge at the base of the pylon. The magnetic clamps locked. Morales saw him working and laid down covering fire to keep drones back. "Charge set," Hudson called. Morales grinned. "I got you, cowboy." She flung a grenade behind them and ducked under a blast of plasma. A drone tried to ram her, but she smashed it away with the butt of her rifle. The enforcer came in fast, leaping from a raised platform like a falling meteor. Hudson barely rolled aside before it slammed into the ground, carving a crater into the metal. Its bladed limbs tore through the air at him, but Hudson blocked with his rifle, the impact rattling his arms. The monster roared close enough that Hudson could smell burning metal. Morales fired at the enforcer's spine, but it barely budged. Its armor sealed around bullet wounds like self-healing bone. She growled. "You have got to be kidding me. These things evolve mid-battle now. We are fighting a regenerating murder tank." Hudson grabbed a grenade, pulled the pin with his teeth, and shoved it into a crack in the enforcer's armor. The explosion staggered it just long enough for him to fire a second modified .50 BMG round straight into its chest. The impact sent the towering brute flying backward off the walkway and into the molten abyss below. "One down," Morales said. "It will climb out," Sato warned. "That is a problem for future us," she snapped. "Where are we at with that shutdown dock?" "Almost there," he shouted. "But the core is fighting back. It has linked itself to Captain Cole's neural system. The system is actively resisting me." Hudson looked at the human prisoner strapped to the throne. Cole's eyes were still glowing with alien energy, flickering like a storm. His veins pulsed with blue light. Cole was awake but trapped inside. Morales said, "We cannot hold this position forever. Either we blow the core now or find another way to kill the general before he wakes up his toy superweapon." Sato's hands trembled over the interface. "If we blow the conduits before shutting down the stabilizers, the micro-singularity will tear open. Everything within 100 miles will vanish, including us." Hudson reloaded. "We shut it down first." Morales stared at him. "That is the hardest option." "Then it is the only one." Before she could argue, the alien general stepped forward and raised its arm. A strange device attached to its wrist unfolded and began to glow. A blast of shimmering energy surged out and struck Hudson, throwing him back like a ragdoll. He crashed into a console and fell hard. Morales screamed his name and fired at the general, but a drone intercept wall blocked her shot. Hudson groaned and forced himself up. The hit had broken his chest rig and split skin, but he stayed standing. The general stared at him and spoke in broken human language. "You are anomaly. Human who causes disruption. You must end." Hudson wiped blood from his mouth. "I was about to say the same to you." The general moved with impossible speed and struck. Hudson rolled under the attack and countered with a shot to its chest at point-blank range. The round hit and detonated, but the general only staggered. Its armor absorbed most of the damage. Hudson moved again, ducking as its blade arm sliced the air like a guillotine. His movements were fast, but each strike pushed him backward. Morales tried to force a path toward Hudson. She shot down drones and dodged blasts, but a troop of Thraxian soldiers cut her off. She ran low on ammo. She reloaded behind a column and screamed over her shoulder. "Sato, how much time do you need?" "1 more minute," he shouted. "You are killing me with minutes, Doc." Hudson switched magazines and loaded another alien round. But as he raised his rifle, the general blasted him again with its wrist cannon. Hudson flew backward and slid to the edge of the platform, nearly falling over. His rifle skidded away from him. He tried to stand, but the general was already there, towering over him, blade raised for the kill. Hudson reached for his combat knife, but the general stomped down on his chest, pinning him. It raised its blade again. Lights flickered across its armor, as if it was feeding off the planet breaker's power. "This timeline ends," it said. A plasma shot struck the general in the shoulder, knocking it off balance. Morales stood nearby with a stolen alien rifle, screaming in defiance. "Over here, reptile face, yeah, I stole your gun, cry about it." The general turned toward her. And that was all Hudson needed. He reached into his vest and pulled free a charge detonator. Not a grenade. A remote trigger. The first pylon charge. He clicked it. The stabilizer pylon behind them erupted in a burst of fire and collapsing metal. Energy spiraled out of control as a chunk of the ring fell away. Lights around the core faltered. Sato shouted, "Yes, that destabilized the ring network. The shutdown protocols are available now." The general roared in fury, but Hudson was already moving. He rolled free and retrieved his rifle. More drones swarmed him. He shot 2 through their central cores and slid across the metal platform toward Morales. Together they fought side by side, their firepower synchronized. Sato yelled over the growing howl of the core, "We need to disable at least 2 more stabilizers, or the core will still activate when the Thraxians finish their sequence." Hudson pointed. "Morales, on me. Second pylon." She reloaded. "Then we blow it sky high." They moved like chaos and precision combined. Morales covered while Hudson advanced. Plasma bolts flew inches past their heads. Drones exploded in showers of metal. The Enforcer climbed back up from the abyss, now more enraged than before. But they reached the second pylon. Hudson armed another charge. Morales set the timer. "Ready." The general roared across the battlefield. "Enough." It raised both arms and unleashed a massive wave of energy that hurled drones, debris, and shattered metal into the air. Morales covered her ears from the force. Hudson grabbed her arm before she fell. The enemy paused. Every unit froze. Then something impossible happened. The planet breaker core spoke. Hudson moved before doubt could follow him. There was no debate. No strategy meeting. No time for hesitation. He sprinted toward the control throne where Cole was strapped, cables burrowed into his body like a twisted nervous system. The planet breaker core spiraled violently, energy cracking reality in flashes of impossible colors. The world trembled beneath them. Morales yelled something behind him, but her voice was drowned by the howling power of the awakened singularity. The alien general saw him move and roared a command to its army. Every drone and soldier redirected their aim toward Hudson. Plasma fire chased him in blazing streak. Metal exploded around him. The air warped and bent from heat. But Hudson did not stop. He never stopped. Morales covered him, firing relentlessly until her rifle overheated. She threw it aside and switched to her pistol. Her hands moved faster than thought as she shot down flying drones in synchronized bursts. Sato yelled over the storm of sound, "The core is reaching terminal instability. We have 90 seconds before it consumes everything. The stabilizers must go offline now or the release will crack the planet open." Hudson reached the platform where Cole hung suspended between arcs of energy. Cole's head twitched violently as if trapped inside a nightmare. His veins still pulsed with blue alien light. His eyes flickered. He was trapped between 2 minds. Hudson grabbed one of the cables. Electric pain shot through his body. He clenched his teeth and pulled harder. Cole's voice came through the static of pain. "You should have left me behind in Beijing, Hudson." Hudson ignored him and ripped out the first cable. A surge of power exploded from the socket and threw him back. His armor smoked, but he pushed himself up again. Cole gasped in pain but managed to focus on him for a second. "End it, Hudson. You know what you have to do." Hudson shook his head. "No. I already lost you once." He reached for another cable. The alien general moved like a divine executioner across the battlefield. It leapt from one platform to another, crossing the distance between them with monstrous grace. It landed behind Hudson and slammed him with a force that sent him sliding across the metal floor. Morales screamed and fired, but the general blocked the rounds casually before hurling a spear of plasma at her. She barely rolled aside before it melted straight through the floor where she had been standing. Hudson staggered to his feet. He loaded one of the last alien-forged .50 BMG rounds into his rifle. He fired at the general. The round hit dead center. The explosion tore a chunk from its armor, but still it came forward. It would not stop. It was too strong. Too advanced. It was built to end wars. But so was he. Morales sprinted to Hudson and threw him a satchel of charges. "One more pylon," she shouted over the collapsing world. "We blow one more and Sato can shut the core down before it goes critical." Hudson took the charges and nodded. "Cover me." Morales took position between Hudson and the general. She reloaded and fired at full auto. The general blocked the shots again and advanced slowly through the sparks. Morales grinned, despite the danger. "Hey, Lizard King over here, you want the sniper, you have to go through me." She reached behind her for another clip, but her hand closed on nothing. She was empty. The general struck. Faster than she could move. Its blade screamed through the air toward her. Morales closed her eyes. But the blow never came. Hudson blocked it with his combat knife. The alien metal shrieked against the Thraxian blade. The impact nearly shattered his bones, but he did not let go. The general snarled inches from his face. Hudson forced the blade aside and kicked the general back for a moment. He tossed Morales the detonator. Then shouted, "Get to cover." She hesitated for only a second before moving. She trusted him. Maybe more than he deserved. Hudson sprinted across the platform toward the last stabilizer pylon. Drones swarmed in front of him, but he weaved between them and fired only when necessary. He planted the charges at the base of the pylon. The metal trembled. The core roared. The general saw what he was doing and leapt to intercept. Sato screamed, "Hudson, get back, the core wave front is about to surge." Hudson turned as the general descended toward him. Blades ready to cleave him in half. Time seemed to slow. The platform beneath him trembled. He saw the world around him burning. He saw Morales fighting until she could not anymore. He saw Sato giving everything he had for a mission no one else would believe in. He saw Cole trapped between life and death. He pressed the detonator. The explosion tore the pylon apart. Energy shockwaves spiraled across the chamber as the stabilizer ring shattered. The planet breaker core faltered. Its glow dimmed. Sato yelled, "I have it shut down, sequence engaged." Hudson turned just as the general slammed into him. They crashed across the metal bridge, locked in brutal combat. The general struck with relentless fury. Hudson blocked one strike, but another ripped across his shoulder, armor tearing, blood spraying. The general spoke with rage, "You are anomaly, you weaken Thraxian order, you must end now." Hudson drove his knife into a gap in its armor. The general roared and knocked him down. It loomed over him, blade pointed at his throat. Hudson reached for his rifle, but it was knocked away. His vision blurred. Pain flooded every nerve. The general raised its blade to finish him. A gunshot exploded through the chamber. The general staggered. A hole appeared in its skull. It turned slowly toward the shooter as if disbelief was a new sensation to its species. Morales stood behind it, gripping Hudson's rifle. Smoke curled from the barrel. "She said this is for Earth." The general collapsed. Hudson gasped for air. He heard Sato shouting, "The shutdown is working, the core is collapsing, but safely, we will survive." But then he heard another voice. A weak one. "Hudson, help me." Cole. Hudson ran to the throne. Morales tried to stop him, but he was already there. The core was collapsing, but the singularity pulsed with dangerous glitches. One wrong move and it could reactivate. Sato yelled, "We cannot risk pulling him free if the neural link remains attached. The core may reboot and fire." Hudson ignored him. He grabbed the final cable on Cole's chest and tore it free. Cole fell limp into Hudson's arms. Sato screamed, "What have you done?" The platform shook. Alarms blared. But then the core dimmed. The glow faded. The energy quieted. The disaster stopped. Sato stared in disbelief. It worked. It chose shutdown over incomplete calibration. Hudson carried Cole as the structure began to collapse around them. Morales ran ahead, clearing the path. Sato grabbed alien data cores and sprinted after them. Explosions tore through the tunnels as they fled. They burst out of the alien stronghold into daylight. Smoke rose from the ruins. Human resistance dropships streaked overhead. The sky was burning but still theirs. Cole opened his eyes and whispered, barely audible, "I knew you would come." Hudson nodded. "Welcome back, Captain." Morales dropped beside them and lay on her back, staring at the sky. "So what now, cowboy?" Hudson looked toward the horizon where other alien command ships still hovered. He chambered one last .50 BMG round. The war is not over. But now they know Earth fights back. Far above them, one of the alien warships turned as if watching. And this time it did not laugh.